Let's move on to the next question from Dark Zero and Gonza. We have 2 questions here. So what do you think is the most important to success between scrimming, VOD review, and theory?
For me, there is not like a most important thing. For me, the important thing is about doing this the right way. The screaming. As I said, you don't scream for the sake of screaming, like Kaosx said. Don't, and be maybe more methodic about it. Think about screaming. Think about we are screaming. So do it right. Don't scream to win. Just scream to learn. And don't be afraid to make mistakes or to lose, bro. It's a scream. It's the place for mistakes. It's the place to fuck up, literally. Mm-hmm. Then about VOD review. I actually have some opinions about this. It's important, of course, yeah, do it. But I do think it can be a trap on tier 4. And I talk because I have some friends that play tier 4 Valorant, and sometimes they do like, oh, this day, and I heard a lot of tier 4 Valorant teams, like, oh, this day we are not screaming, we are doing VOD review, 1 hour. And I'm like, bro, you barely scream, and you are taking 1 day just to VOD review, and it's not going to be really helpful. Let me explain. For example, on tier 4, for starters, are you, because of time limits, because people cannot play that much and shit, like taking 1 day to VOD review, like, is a really like big thing, because you are losing a lot of training time. For me is more important. But then the thing is, imagine you do the VOD review. I don't think the info you are going to get out of there is useful for 2 reasons. First of all, you are at the beginning, you don't really distinguish what things are really mistakes or what things are you like from a thing that you only like realize that is easier to realize outside and not really inside of the game, and it's like a normal mistake to doing, like shit happens, and it's hindsight, and sometimes I think a lot of people try to review things in hindsight, which can be bad. And also thing is, in an hour, you will get a lot of mistakes. And the thing, imagine you get from a VOD review, oh, we need to improve on 20 things. Is it really good? Do you have a list of 20 things you have to improve on? Because I think it can be bad for you, because imagine, you're going to scream and 2 weeks and you say, oh, we have 20 bad. No, it's better to only have 2, so you can really focus on that and then go to the next one, To go step by step. Like, I think a really big part of improving as a team is focusing on short-term goals. Not like, oh, I will not, it's not like, a goal is not, let's be the best, let's win this shit. No, that's not a goal. Like, that's very abstract. Like, how I'm going to improve for next week. How I'm going to improve tomorrow, today, And the thing is, about VOD review, I think it can be a trap for these reasons. It takes you a lot of time, and it gives you a lot of info. And the thing is, in tier 4, mistakes are not that deep. Sometimes, if you have a little bit, if you think a little about it, you will spot mistakes, because they are everywhere, So you don't see a specific, like in the one who is like, mistakes are maybe more hidden. So I think about what you can do instead is, what I like to do in tier 4 is just, after this game, have a talk. Have a talk what we did wrong. And if you manage in that talk to spot 3 things we did not right, it's enough. You have 3 metas for the next day. You don't need a VOD review. The thing is, VOD review can help sometimes if it is a more complex topic. For example, just 1 or 2 rounds after the scrim. Like, what I want to say is, don't make VOD review that big of a thing. Like, make it on smaller proportion, mostly on your level. I think it's very bad making it in big proportions, mostly in tier 4. I think it's a trap. Like, it's good, but do it step, like, after scheme, 1 round, 2 if needed. Or imagine you think you're a coach and you see, okay, guys, we have been fucking the kids attacks, and then you bring a theory, a scrim talk, that you go over 3 kids attacks and go, okay, you can do that. But what I want to say is, don't offer 2 VOD reviews, and I will not focus full days to VOD reviews. Just scream, and after scream, think. Because if you are being critical, and if you don't scream for the sake of screaming, you are already doing that job daily, And what I said is, having too many things to focus on is a bad thing. Mm-hmm. Because you will get lost. And also it comes down what I said. One of the jobs of your jobs as a coach is to set up what are those things to focus, And then you have theory. And the theory is just do it right, Do it in the right proportion, so not too much, so people can focus, for example, and things we are going to scream. Don't talk about the map we are not screaming. That doesn't make sense. That's just going to fucking tilt your players. Or don't talk about a site that we are not going to work. Imagine you are a new start for a site. So maybe, and you have like 3 new strats for a site. Maybe one day do one, the next day do another, and the next day do another. You know, don't do like 3 new strats at the same time. You know. For example, for me with Flux happened this. Panda and me, after the stage, we reworked completely the strat book. Because if we want 0-9, we had to change stuff. Like, we had to change. 0-9 is not acceptable. So we did from scratch Sky and Coastlet, if I remember. But and we had like 5 new strats for everything. Almost, you know. We spent like 14 hours a day, like one day, 14 hours, 14 hours, like sit there and do that shit. Like through all the day, we didn't do anything else. But then when the theory came, it was like one by one. Okay, this is the one by one, you know, slowly. I mean, you don't have that luxury maybe, but I mean, your strat books will not be that as deep as mine also, but so maybe it's less of a problem. But about theory is just make the right quantity. And I think if you had classes with Kaosx, it would have talked about cognitive load theory, you know. So imagine your brain has like a RAM, and before like going into like your storage, you need to play it first, you know.
Exactly.
So try to find what is the limit of your team. So because you can notice, because when you give too much or you give the wrong theory, they will be lost. They don't know, they don't remember what to do, and so yeah. And for me, there is no like, oh, this is most important. You need to focus on this. It's about doing this right, you know. You need to have a minimal amount of screaming, like thinking about what you're doing. You need to have a healthy VOD review, you know, healthy VOD review that is like focused, not like, oh, we do all this shit wrong. No, it's not useful. This, and this, you know. Give it names. So things we can work today, literally in this scrim, you know, not things for the next month. And then theory is just what I talked. Talk about what you are going to do, talk in proportions that the players can process it. As you go higher, you can talk about more because players know more. Because also in tier 4, players sometimes are totally clueless what the meta, and sometimes you can give in a default strat, and for them it's totally new. Well. But yeah, that's my answer. And by the way, let me just a small pause because I do really need to go to the bathroom.
Go for it.
So.
Yeah, go for it. I will just yeah, take your time. No worries. So something I have posted like few screenshots over here. The very first screenshot basically says what Pixel says, like focus on the improvement. Like when you have a goal and you don't know how to deal with the goal, that basically tells you that you don't have a good goal. Like in that case, I will always split that goal in 2 parts. And then see if you can work on either of these 2 goals. If you can't, split. You need to be split until you can work on that. For example, if you have a goal of getting better at KD, I don't know how to work on that. So I'm going to split that, crosshair placement, flicking. I can't work on that. I'm going to spread it. Like crosshair placement can be like, for example, smoothness, like being able to keep my crosshair placement on the edge of the door as I'm moving, and crosshair placement also can be like vertical crosshair placement. And now you can keep splitting these things till you actually manage to, okay, I have a playlist in Kaosx, Ablabs, to work on that. So very important thing is like if you want to focus on the goal and you don't know how to practice that, that means you have way too big of a goal. Split that goal in 2 parts. That's the first part. So that's just be 1% better than yesterday. That's going to happen in that graph. Now the second graph basically tells you something that Pixel said, like don't bring maps that you don't want to scrim, because as you can see in this curve of forgetting, famous Herman Ebbinghaus, basically after 30 minutes you already forget 50% of the thing what coach told you. Like, and you will forget that even if you're focused on one map. This is scientific proven. Now imagine you're giving so much intel that this graph will go all the way down. So you need to be specific and be very direct what you want to do with the scrim. And then one more thing, like the reason why, for example, Pixel said that he's focused on not all the maps, but let's say 5 maps every week, is exactly because of this curve. Because if he does just 1 map every week, he's going to, like, the team is going to forget a lot of the stuff. But if he forces 1 map, let's say 3 times a day, it's going to be a lot better. Now you can Pixel.
Yeah, you have the repetition. And also the stuff you have to understand that for you, of course, it's easy understanding the stuff because you were the one who makes it. But yeah, no problem, Namin. Have a good day. Oh, sorry. Multitasking.
You're good. You're good.
But sometimes you have to understand that if people normally don't care about the things they didn't do, you know? It's not the same. They don't have that emotional investment you have to distract, let's say. Because if you do it, you are going to remember everything. Everyone does, you know? Because sometimes, I know it can be like, bro, like I literally remember what everything does in every strat, but you cannot remember only what you do. And sometimes that's also the reason, you know? Because people don't do it. They don't care as much. And sometimes the solution can be like people participating in the strat building, but it can have its problems, you know. But yeah, it's just a detail.
A suggestion is just teach them why you're putting that stuff, and then he's going to remember why keep putting there. One small thing when it comes to proper VOD viewing, my always suggestion is to have a notepad next to you and just write things down what you want to go for the VOD view, if you really want to go for the VOD view. That way you don't need to spend like on all 12 rounds find that one small thing. You know, round 3 to 37, I fucked up roaming. How do I fix that? Let's go back to VOD view. That's going to take 2 minutes. You're done with the VOD view. For example.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.